Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru, and today I'm going to talk about The Lighthouse. Now, for those of you who don't know, The Lighthouse is the latest film by Robert Eggers, the filmmaker who is most famous for having done the satanic masterpiece, The Witch. Or as I like to call it, The Vivitch. Which, needless to say, is a film that I cannot praise enough, so going into this film, his sophomore effort, I had some pretty high expectations. And while I am happy to report, the movie definitely lived up to those expectations, it also defied those expectations, because this movie is totally not the movie I expected, but goddamn am I glad he made it. Cause here's the thing you gotta understand, this movie is way more experimental than The Vivitch. In fact, The Vivitch, by comparison, is a way more straightforward film. It's got a pretty linear story with a beginning, middle, and an end, a very clear conflict and protagonist, even if it's really hard to understand what everyone's saying when everyone's speaking in ye old time speak. It's still, at the end of the day, pretty straightforward, and you have a pretty good idea what happened all throughout the movie, even if some events are debatable as to what really happened. This film, on the other hand, there's a lot more left to interpretation, and there's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie that you're not even sure when it's supposed to happen or if it happened at all. And while there is a very clear protagonist, he isn't the most reliable narrator, so you're not entirely sure if you should trust what he's seeing or what he's saying. There are points in this movie where he might have just made shit up, and you would have no way of knowing. And that's on top of the film being filmed in a 4:3 aspect ratio in black and fucking white. And much like The Vivitch, the characters in this movie are also speaking in ye olde speak, though it's different ye olde speak because it's a different time period and a different group of people, so they speak in different accents with different tongues, but it's equally as hard to understand at times. Basically what I'm saying is, this film is art house as all fuck, and if you didn't like those aspects of The Vivitch, then you're definitely not gonna like them here. Cause all of that is turned to 11.
If you can see, the numbers all go to 11.
And as for me personally, I love the shit out of it. I just love how surreal and moody it is, and how Lovecraftian it is, and how much of it just feels like this really tense pressure cooker that's gonna explode at any moment. And if you haven't seen the trailer for this movie, basically it's about these two guys that are trapped in a lighthouse together, and they don't get along, and tensions between them keep increasing as the movie goes on, and they either start to lose their minds, or creatures start influencing their minds, or maybe even something else. You don't know. This movie, again, leaves a lot open to interpretation. And that's on top of the movie being a bit of a meditation on spirituality and manhood, and what does it even mean to be a man? As well as some more basic things like life and death and the sea and what monstrosities might lurk beneath it. Like, this movie is so truly unique, I'm having a hard time describing it to you without getting into the nitty-gritty details. Like, the best way I can think of to describe it is it's kind of like if Ingmar Bergman had directed an adaptation of Dagon. Not the movie Dagon, but the original short story Dagon. But even by describing it like that, there's still a lot to this movie that is super surprising and you're not gonna expect, so, yeah, even that's not the full story. Anyway, if you can't tell, this is one of those movies that I just kinda love from start to finish, so I don't really have any criticisms, but I can highlight some of the things I fucking loved. First off, both actors in this film deserve goddamn Oscars. Willem Dafoe is fucking amazing in this film, and Robert Pattinson, he holds his own against Willem Dafoe the entire fucking film. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how good he is in this film, then I don't know what does. And I especially love that both of them were able to act their fucking asses off despite having to work with those ridiculous accents. With Willem Dafoe having like the stereotypical pirate accent, but laid on very fucking thick, and Robert Pattinson having an accent kind of like Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York. That kind of weirdly macho, ye olde New Yorker accent. Which again, is laid on really fucking thick. And yet despite that, every scene with the two of them was fucking riveting, even if I couldn't understand some of the words they were saying, and I had to get context clues. Though if I rewatch it, I'm gonna rewatch it like I rewatched The Vivitch and do it with subtitles so I can get all the little details so I can understand it even better. And another thing I really like about this film is that the way it's shot in that 4:3 aspect ratio in black and white, it's not just a gimmick, it's actually very important to the film. Because by filming it in such a narrow aspect ratio, it allows the film to feel extremely claustrophobic, even when they're filming a lighthouse on an island. Everything feels all tight and cramped together, which just makes you feel more of the tension between Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. So again, it's not just a gimmick, it's actually a very important storytelling device. And the black and whiteness just adds to the surreality of everything. It just makes everything have this extra layer of unrealism to it, which makes the fact that the characters seem like they're going insane, it feels all the more real in a weird way, even though it's not filmed in a real way. And the third thing I really like about this movie is the restraint it shows in not answering a lot of the questions that are brought up throughout it, and in a satisfactory way. It almost feels like no answer you could actually give would be as satisfying as not answering it in this situation. That's not true for all films, but it definitely felt true here. And I'm glad he did that here. I feel like if he did that with the Vavitch, I wouldn't have liked that movie as much, but in this particular situation, it works really well. Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, I highly recommend The Lighthouse. I think it's one of the greatest horror films to come out this year, and definitely one of the most interesting and unique ones. So if anything I've said so far in this video has enticed you to go see the movie, then you should definitely stop right here and go see it. Either in theaters, or if it's on demand already, then you should watch it through that, or streaming, or whatever. And with that said, as per usual, I'll include an Amazon affiliate link in the description below, and if you click that link and buy or rent the movie with that link, then I will get a kickback from it. And with that all said, let us finally move on to the spoilers. Alright, so if nothing I've said so far has enticed you to go see the movie, and you waited for the spoilers to get, the real reason to go see this movie, well, I'll give you a couple good reasons. Here's one. Have you ever wanted to see a horror movie in which Willem Dafoe farts, every 5 minutes in the movie, and yet it is not only funny every time he farts, and yet still menacing every time he speaks? This is the movie for you. Number 2. Have you ever wanted to see a horror movie in which Robert Pattinson goes head-to-head in a battle of the wills with a fucking seagull and loses for a majority of the movie? Then this is the film for you. And finally, my third reason, mermaid pussy.
Mermaid pussy.
Yeah, I think that's enough said. And if after hearing those 3 spoiler reasons you still don't want to see the movie, then you're just a lost cause. I don't know what to tell you.
I guess this is just another lost cause, Mr. Payne.
Anyway, my fellow Gorehounds, I do not have anything more to say about the movie. It's time for you to go see it for yourself and then come back to me and tell me what you think. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Are you mad at me for ever recommending it? Or are you forever grateful to me? Just let me know in the comment section below. And while you're down there commenting, don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And especially don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you're feeling especially generous and want to help me keep my roof over my head, then be sure to check out my Patreon page, where if you even donate just $1 a month, it can go a long way. And with all that bullshit out of the way, peace out, my fellow Gorehounds, and I'll catch y'all later.